So we literally came back with nothing. I think I had $300 in my bank account. I didn't have a car, didn't have a home. We just had backpacks at that point. And so we had to start from scratch. I also came back with a son who developed an autoimmune encephalitis. He was extremely ill. And so now I had to start a practice with no budget. And so I had done workshops in the past. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to need to start getting people in the door. I started to do workshops. I didn't have the money to go out and pay marketers to do this for me. So I learned the ins and outs of Facebook advertising and, found the formula to regularly get 15 to 20 people at my workshops. So.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition of the None of Your Business podcast. And today we have a super special episode for you. Obviously, we're not in our normal studio. We are here in Phoenix, Arizona at a Black Diamond Club sales workshop. And we just had to grab Dr. Steve Tullius to sit down with us for a few moments to explain to you about his wonderful business where he is helping chiropractors, but soon to be other professionals, to reach more people through the magic of live workshops, which is also, we're in the middle of a pandemic, or maybe we're coming out of it, who knows, where live workshops have kind of fallen off, but now they're coming back, and you've put together a wonderful program that is helping these people to reach their target audience through this magic of live workshops. Dr. Steve Tullius, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. It's great to be here.
We are doing this actually on take two because we did this over the internet, but we had some streaming difficulty. So hopefully you don't stutter or freeze on us.
Well, see, that's why in person is always better too. And that's why all of you out there should be doing in-person workshops right now.
That's right. In person is better because there's no chance of technical glitches and technical difficulty. Tell me, how did you get involved, or how did this get birthed, this idea of doing in-person workshops to spread a message?
Yeah, so, this goes back to 2012 when I sold my practice, took 9 months off to travel around the world, and then came back, and I had to start a brand new practice from scratch. I'd never done that. Before that, I'd bought a practice. And so the thing about traveling around the world for 9 months is it's actually pretty expensive. And I even though I made a lot of money selling my practice, I came back with no money in my bank account.
Well, because it was supposed to be a 12-month trip, right?
It was supposed to be 12 months. And so, yeah, at the end of that, you can imagine what we were eating and what we were doing to save every single cent. So we literally came back with nothing. I think I had $300 in my bank account. I didn't have a car, didn't have a home. We just had backpacks at that point. And so we had to start from scratch. I also came back with a son who developed an autoimmune encephalitis. He was extremely ill. And so now I had to start a practice with no budget. And so I had done workshops in the past. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to need to start getting people in the door. I started to do workshops. I didn't have the money to go out and pay marketers to do this for me. So I learned the ins and outs of Facebook advertising and, found the formula to regularly get 15 to 20 people at my workshops. So
two of the biggest challenges that people face that might be considering, hey, this could be good for me, especially coming out of a pandemic. Maybe some people's businesses have been impacted, and so we have a relatively cost-efficient way of marketing ourselves. But the two challenges are, how do I get people to come? And then once they're there, I have to give a presentation, with a lot of people are afraid of public speaking. And then the second challenge then is, well, then how do I transition from you came to hear me talk to you actually want to be a client and do business with me?
Right. So, anyone can produce content. Most of you out there, doctors, other professionals, can create the content. That's not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is getting butts in the seats, right? And so, that's all done through social media marketing. In terms of getting people to actually act and get there, you have to solve big needs in their lives. So all the workshops we do are focused on the biggest challenges regarding health. children's neurodevelopmental challenges. 50% of the children in this country are chronically ill. And then we focus on mental health, which is a massive concern today with all the issues with social distancing and lockdowns, and then adult chronic health challenges. So that represents approximately 70% of the U.S. population. So there's a massive market out there. The challenge in chiropractic is not that there isn't a big need for it. There's a massive need. The people just don't know that they need chiropractic. And so we attract people with these huge needs, and then we take them on a logical and emotional journey through the content we give to our doctors that gets them to the end of the talk and realize that you solve these major problems in their lives.
So somebody that's watching, maybe that's not a chiropractor, it's in maybe a completely unrelated space. Do you see the possibility for them? Is this something that only works in chiropractic because of some niche in chiropractic, or could I do this in other industries as well?
Yeah, no, this absolutely applies to I'd say most industries. In fact, right now we're working with a financial planner to create the same done-for-you systems for the financial planning world. This weekend here at the sales workshop, there's a dentist here, there's other professionals. You're talking about sleep apnea and the dentist here. That would be phenomenal. That would be a great topic for dentists. And then this naturopaths, but it really could apply to any industry where there is a big need, that they're solving. Because people want to get their problems solved.
So I want to go then to the social media side. As you said, well, getting butts in seats, that's done through social media, but it's not like just make an ad and say free workshop. There's a lot more of the inner workings. There's the ad, there's the follow-up, there's all of the work that goes into that. You have, through some trial and error, through some learning, knowledge of your own, put together a system that repeatedly works, not just in one area, but you have tested this system in most areas of the United States, if not all areas of the United States, and it continually generates the people. It gets the people to take action and actually show up. But then the pandemic. So coming out of the pandemic, how has that changed things? Are you still seeing the same response? Is it better? Is it worse? And how did you have to adjust your machine to continue to make it work?
Sure. So, when the pandemic hit, like most people, we were, it's like, again, punched in the face, right? We were doing great, everything, the doctors are doing great. Then all of a sudden, now we had to totally pivot. And so we did recommend webinars for until June. And in June, we recommended going back to in-person. Now, here's what we saw with the data with webinars. Webinars are great, but people don't buy. They're not compelled to
They're going to engage.
act.
They're cooking dinner.
Yeah,
they're half watching another thing. They're checking their emails.
Totally.
So the engagement is way less, and so then the conversion, the close on those,
way lower.
Way lower.
Still a positive ROI, but nothing compared to in-person workshops, which can be anywhere from 600 to 1,000%. So what we found was that actually cost of advertising went down in the pandemic. Lots of businesses left Facebook. And then the other thing is the pandemic forced people to make choices. We saw this, people lost friends, they lost family members, over this huge situation, but also forced people to choose what they believed. People who are afraid, who want to stay home, they're going to stay home. And we've shown doctors how to still give those people the webinar option, but then the people that want to be, that don't necessarily want to stay home and want to get back into life, they were very ripe and ready for these types of events. And now, as we're further in, as the whole momentum of the country is moving back to in person and getting back to restaurants and everything, we're seeing really great registrations.
And not to offend anybody who's viewing or listening, the data, the truth, the numbers says that if somebody was afraid and they wanted to stay home and you had a brick and mortar, then they aren't going to really engage anyway, right? Because they're trying to stay home. And if the service that you provide is through your brick and mortar place of business, then it would make sense that this actually serves almost as a qualifier, in that the first step would be to actually come out of your home and come to the brick and mortar place of business to hear this presentation. And if they were willing to do that, then that bodes well for them potentially continuing to come. But if they were not willing to do that, well, they're probably not going to be willing to come and receive your services at your place of business either. And so now we see this tide turning, and people are starting to show up. So for anybody who's super interested in this, tell us more about the program and how can people get in touch with you if they want more information.
Sure. So best way to get in touch with me is through either going to waitlistworkshops.com or even Facebook. I'm highly accessible via Facebook. Facebook Messenger is a great way to contact me. But really, the thing is to go to waitlistworkshops.com and schedule a consultation or a call. Even if you're in another industry, we're looking to partner with other people and to test in multiple industries. As a marketer, actually, I geek out over testing. Testing's fun for me. We're constantly testing new images, new markets, new audiences. So for those who are in different industries who see the potential of this, for not only your own business but for your whole industry, I'd love to partner with them.
So go to waitlistworkshops.com, check out what Steve is doing. Tell me then, the program that you're offering is not just some Facebook ads. If you are joining Waitlist Workshops, the program, as a chiropractor or in any industry that you have already completed, you are providing them with the actual content. I don't have to make up my own thing. You're giving me the presentation. I just have to actually deliver it. What goes into the creation of a presentation when you're opening up a new space?
Right. So, yeah, most people don't realize just how easy the system is. It is truly done for you. Doctors are able to give a workshop within 5 weeks, from the day they sign up because they get everything that they need. So in terms of creating a program, it's intense. It's tons because, I have. Oh, another great way to get in touch with me is the Waitlist Workshops free group on Facebook.
On Facebook, yes.
In that group, I show people how to create a workshop, because there's a science to it. I've given over 200 public lectures in the last 10 years, and those have constantly evolved based upon the feedback and response from the audiences, what works, what doesn't work, and so. There's this journey, and it's storytelling. Obviously, Michael Port. You've coached with him, and he's been on your program, and that's what I really came to understand is that this is it's a performance. It's a storytelling, and as doctors and even as other professionals, they want to tell everyone all that they know, right? And show, to explain everything, and really people don't want to know that. They just want to know that you can help, that you're competent, and know that you can help solve that problem in their life.
So what about people that might be watching and say, this is great, I definitely want to do this, but I'm afraid of speaking? What sort of support do you offer for that individual?
Yeah, so that's what we noticed, was that because this program it's now a monthly program. It's a membership. Doctors get all the content. They get our team doing the ads for up to 2 workshops per month, start to finish. So doctors just show up to a room full of people and educate and invite them into their practice. I feel like that's how it should be. But I do understand the fear of public speaking. I used to be deathly afraid of public speaking. I would shake, every time I stood on a stage or had to deliver a book report in high school. And so I have a lot of experience, being there. So I offer, with this program comes support and coaching. So we do weekly office hour calls. We have over a year's worth of content on mastering public speaking. We have interviews with Michael Port, who's a master in that craft. And so there's lots of support for those doctors or individuals who are looking to get over that fear. The number one criteria is, do you feel compelled to share this message with your community? And if so, then this is for you, because it will help you crush that fear.
But then the last hurdle that we've got to get over is then the actual closing, the sales part. And a lot of people are like, yeah, like you said, I signed up for this so that I could just show up to a room full of people and give this talk, but I don't want to sell them anything. What kind of support and guidance do you give so that we actually are able to monetize the room full of people and actually get some value out of it for ourselves? I mean, I'm sure they get value because it's great content, but I mean, it doesn't work unless the person putting on the show is able to get a return on that investment? How do you help coach them through and get over this whole sales thing?
Right. So people are at different stages of that journey. I find a lot of individuals, especially in the healing space, have a lot of issues with even the word sales, right?
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah.
We're here at the sales workshop. So number one, I recommend that they join BDC, that they help shift their mindset around sales and understand it's really about caring and getting your message out so you can help people. But we have different levels of support in terms of where I just did a whole hour-long presentation on mastering the close, the elements and attributes, like what do you need to bring to that conversation? Not just what you say, but like your essence and of bringing out who you really are, so people see and feel that they trust you, that you're credible, and that they know they're in the right place. And then this is less often because we don't see this happen as often, but we'll have docs who, they do the presentation and they have a goose egg, they have 0 sign up, right? So we get on the phone. I want to help those people. I want to make sure that they have the skills, and usually it's some very small things that are huge that they're doing or not doing, that we just have to make some small shifts. And when we do that, then I have one client, she had 0 at her first. The next one, she scheduled 5. The next, she scheduled 10, and then her third, she scheduled 20, right? And so as long as people are willing to work and acknowledge that they need help and want help, then they're coachable. So
you have lots and lots of doctors on the program, and you get to see what they're getting. What are some of the cool ROIs that you've seen? What's typical and what's atypical, but makes you real happy?
Yeah. So whenever I share with a doc, when we go over the ins and outs of the program, we expect at least a 600% return on investment, right? If they're doing 1 workshop per month. If they're doing 2, then we expect 1,000% return on investment. And that's including my services and their ad spend. And that's based upon only 5 new patients per workshop, right? Now, and that's average for this is based upon the metrics. Now, we have doctors who just this week, 16 new patients, 13 new patients last night, another 12 new patients. And so that's the ROI side just in that moment. But what it does in terms of their practice, it transforms the energy, because it's now attracting people who really want and need to be there. It's attracting, what we've called, the miracle cases, in chiropractic, people, the sickest of the sick who have amazing transformation. So it's transforming practices. It's invigorating teams, because now there aren't a lot of the tire kickers, people who really don't necessarily know why they're there or value the expertise of the team. And so I think that more than anything, that's what I get excited about when I start to see and hear from my clients, like that piece, when they start to tell me like, oh, practice is so much easier, or just my confidence and certainty has grown because now I'm seeing these types of cases.
Well, that's, I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I was going to point to. Is I, through my consulting, work with several of your clients, people that have the program. And one of the things that I've noticed is that, to me, the biggest shift is in confidence. And I think that once you are able to see the program, you're able to fill a room, and then you deliver your talk, and maybe it doesn't go well the first time, but then maybe you get back on that horse, and then you do it again, and you're like, wow, I can do this. And once you start doing it, then you get confidence. And we talk a lot about that in sales. That's why you get on these streaks, right? Because you get super confident, and then when you're super self-confident, the next time you do the talk, well, it comes off completely different. Because people are like, wow, that guy, he's on it. He's super confident. And so by doing this, one, you've created a program that's helping people to create their lifestyle, feed their families, create wonderful business, but you're also elevating the confidence of a lot of people in a lot of different businesses, which is helping them to be more successful. And to me, that's one of the greatest gifts that you can give to them, because we live in a world too that's super disempowered and always is trying to beat people down. And you've come up with a way that if somebody's willing to step out and say, look, I'm going to give it a shot, can really give them what are they saying? Like a jab in the arm. Is that what they're saying? The vaccine, but it gives them a jab in the arm of confidence, right? That really is able to change their business and put them on a whole other level. The last thing I want to talk to you about is, speaking of that confidence, 6 months or so ago, you said that you didn't say 6 months ago, you said earlier today that you were scared of public speaking. 6 months ago, you were on the stage at summer camp and delivered a phenomenal talk. A lot of great feedback from that, on the stage with people like Eric Thomas and Jordan Belfort and Mike Malak, Connor Blakely, all these amazing speakers. You are a testament yourself to what you've been able to create. And this year, you're coming back as the co-host. Waitlist Workshops is the co-host for summer camp, and people are going to be able to get a more of you and your presentation in that co-host spot. And that is something that makes me super happy. But I love your attitude about it. Like, tell everybody why you decided to jump in as the co-host this year.
Yeah, it was a total no-brainer. One of the key principles in coaching with you that I have ingrained in me is always reinvest in the infrastructure, and always reinvest in the business. And this is a sure thing investment, is how I look at it. It's like, well, I can invest in stock, I can invest in real estate, I can invest in a lot of things, crypto, right? But this is, this is a sure bet, right? Because I know you, and I know the brand, and I know that anything you put a value on, it's worth many times over that. And so I have extreme faith and trust and credibility in you and the brand, right? And so, and then what I saw last year, summer camp was amazing. It's bringing together all these amazing speakers, and not just that, but the culture of people, of true success seekers, people who live in a state of abundance, growth, mindset and mentality. These are my ideal clients, that I could be helping, and I don't look at it like, oh, I could sell or get money from them. It's like, no, like they need this and so I'm just thrilled to be associated with it.
We're super thrilled to have you. It is going to be awesome. Make sure you grab your tickets. Go to www.cometosummercamp.com. You're going to be able to interact with Dr. Steve Tullius from Waitlist Workshops. But before you do that, don't go to cometosummercamp.com without first visiting waitlistworkshops.com. If you're on Facebook, you can look up Steve Tullius, interact with him there, very responsive. And be sure you look up the free group. It's absolutely free. You can jump in, you can get a feel for what the community is doing, what they have going on, and you can access tons of free content and free training from Dr. Steve Tullius himself. Do not miss this opportunity. Dr. Steve, thanks for being with us. No hitches. James, did everything go good? James is saying everything was good. No glitches. It didn't skip or anything. So I'm happy we were able to get this off. You should be happy that you're able to hear this information. Go to waitlistworkshops.com. Get more of Steve Tullius. I promise you, you're going to love it. And if you invest in yourself by acquiring one of his programs, your community is going to be very well served, because he's going to help you to bring people into your office. Live workshops. He's going to train you and teach you how to communicate your message so that you can reach more people, make a bigger impact, and to create the lifestyle that you deserve. Hey, that's all we have for you this week. We'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of the None of Your Business podcast. Don't miss it.